I'm not finished with you! I'm not finished with you! I'm not finished with you!
Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 30 of Season 2 NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the GEICO 500 here at Talladega Superspeedway, as we're getting set to go racing for 29 laps here at this big 2.66 mile restrictor plate racetracking classic. Not sure if that's a sentence, but hey, we'll go with it. So, after today's race, we have only 6 races left in the season. But before we take a look at the starting lineup, let's actually look and see how the points are coming into the race today. So, after last week at Arizona, Chris Michaels' points lead continues to dwindle, but only by 21 points over David Rivera, 24 over Nelson Thornhill, and 56 over Dorian Facepuncher. So it's 56 points separating the top 4. And then 5th place is Rafael Leduc, who is in desperation to try to get back in the championship hunt. Rest of the top 10, 6th is Austin LaPlante, 7th Nathaniel Reed, 8th Seth Cole, 9th Joshua Sekuli, 10th is Emmanuel Hartnett. Rest of the top 20 are DJ Curtis, Grayson Acevedo, Jesse King, Dylan Thoreau, Matt Haas, JT Bryant, Mark Lane, Kev Shearer, Anthony McCreary, and Benjamin Miles. So that is how the top 20 in the points look coming into the race today. But let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting in the last row is Charles Sanford and JT Bryant. Top 10, Rafael Leduc. This is his 4th pole this season. He has been a pole-getting master, I should say. Starting next to him is Charles Jackson. Row 2 is David Rivera and Matt Haas. Row 3, Dylan Thoreau, Chris Dollerton. Row 4, Seth Cole and Reed Ralden. And then row 5, Paul Minnick and Nelson Thornhill. So with that said, let's get the command to fire engines for the GEICO 500 at Talladega.
Drivers! Start your engines!
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So we're getting set for racing here at Talladega. This is our 2nd trip this season to this historical racetrack. And once again, we are using the 2006 freshly repaved version of Talladega, mainly because it just looks cool. Plus, the racing here has always been really, really good on this version of Talladega. So, a lot of different stories coming into the race today. Of course, the pole sitter Rafael Leduc, the last 2 races in fact, he has finished 41st 2 weeks in a row, and he fell further back in the points. Even though he's still 5th in points, he lost a lot of points on the points lead. He is actually 111 points behind Chris Michaels in the season standings. And with this being race 30, so after today only 6 races left in the season, Leduc is definitely going to have to start putting the pedal to the metal if he's going to have any hope of getting back into championship contention. Meanwhile, Dorian Facepuncher, who's starting towards the back of the field, is 56 points behind the points lead. He's got to try to get a couple good runs going to get even closer to contention. And then you got David Rivera and Nelson Thornhill, who are both a little over 20 points behind Chris Michaels in the standings, so they're pretty close. And then Chris Michaels trying to hold them all off to keep this points lead. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time to boogity 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 go racing. Well, Dylan Thoreau led lap 1, but we had the big one ensue right there off of turn 4. Dylan Young was involved. There's one of the top 5 in the points. Dorian Face Punchers damaged. Quite a lot of cars were involved. JT Bryant got involved. And I thought I saw Chris Michaels in it as well, but I think, yeah, I think he got through. Emmanuel Hardnett's got damage. Oh, but a big hit. Oh, and now they're wrecking under pacing. And oh, what in the world? Jesse King goes for a barrel roll after, and oh my goodness, they keep running into each other. And who was that just flipped? That's Angel Alvera in the 87 who flipped over after a pileup, trying to get slowed down for position on track. But man, that was a huge wreck that just basically took out half the field. It looked like it involved half the field. There's Austin LaPlante, Kev Shearer, Matt Haas, Jessica Shelton, Zach Rogers. Dollarton was one of the first cars I saw get sent around. Phil Parker was involved, PJ Williams, Mark Lane, Benjamin Miles. Some of these cars are still damaged from the stack up, slowing down for the caution. Chris Michaels ended up getting damaged from the pileup, so who knows what's going to happen with him now. But we got 5 cars staying out, so Trent Dunham is going to be your leader whenever we get back to the restart. But let's take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the first time today here at Talladega, as the big one is struck early. Well, here's a look at what happened. So the wreck starts behind the 23. It's going to happen contact between Trent Dunham and Dylan Young. Trent Dunham just leaned on that left side of Dylan Young, and that sent them both into the apron. But Trent was able to save it, but Dylan Young just could not control his car. Ends up collecting his teammate Dollarton as well as Matt Haas. And then there you see Minnick, Rogers, and a lot of drivers are going to get collected here. Chris Michaels actually did get a big piece of it. He got slammed into the outside wall by Angel Alvera. And there you see Kev Shearer, and Dollarton got hit pretty hard as I see him spinning almost like a top. I don't know, because all this smoke. But this was a wild, wild big one. This is probably the biggest wreck we have had all season. Let's go to TV2 and see if we can get a better angle as to who all was in it. And I don't know how Charles Jackson managed to avoid it. And then look at Thornhill and Matthews. They're way up high, right in the path, and they somehow, someway get on by. As we get a big close-up on the two of Dylan Young. And, oh, there's the hit to Dollarton, although you can't really see. Oh, and there was a hit from Face Puncher, and that's how Face Puncher got involved. Oh, this is a great camera angle from the spectators section. So yeah, Dylan Young, after the contact, just wasn't able to quite save it and ended up collecting quite a lot of cars. And man, look at all this carnage. And just look at some of those cars up high, like the 14, the 09, and the 78 somehow got by. 24 of Matt McIntyre, I think he was the one. Oh man, he actually hit quite hard into the 9 of Zach Rogers. As I'm trying to also pinpoint who hit Dollarton first to send him spinning like a top. And it was Matt McIntyre right there. And then after that shot, look at the 24. Completely slammed Zach Rogers in the driver's side. So that was a pretty hard lick. And then we had a little bit of a follow-up wreck up ahead. I don't know if it was a wreck or it was just cars trying to get on down the grass to avoid. But Sekuli, Sanford, and Ace Veto all managed to save it after going through the grass unless they come back up and collect cars. Let's keep an eye on this. Yeah, they pretty much saved it. Chris Michaels got a bit of damage from the big one from getting slammed into the outside wall, but the big damage he's going to get is going to come up here in just a few moments, because watch this as cars just start to run into each other, slowing down for pacing, and then right there, Emmanuel Hardnett just runs right into the back of Chris Michaels, and then this is going to cause a chain reaction Qualls was involved. Man, Qualls has not been able to catch a break. And then right there, the hits from Anderson and Qualls sends the 51 upside down for a couple barrel rolls. And then Angel Alvera gets woed up. And who's it? Oh, it's McCrory and Sheldon. Wow! That was a hard impact right in the rear. And that sent the 87 upside down, literally right next to the 51. So the flipping portions of the wreck, yes, happened after the big one happened, and then more cars get damaged after not slowing down in time for pacing purposes. But man, this is really going to shake up the field quite a lot. But let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Talladega. Well, after that first caution, a lot of cars are out of the race, and they include Emmanuel Hartnett, Jesse King, Oscar Anderson, James Qualls, Benjamin Miles, J.D. Bryant, Angel Alvera, Anthony McCrory, Phil Parker, Matt Haas, Austin LaPlante, Dylan Young, Chris Dollarton, Zach Rogers, Matt McIntyre, and tough break for Dorian Facepuncher, who came in 4th in points. He's going to lose a lot of ground. So we're down to only 26 cars left on track after all the mayhem. And some cars stayed out, but most cars pitted. So the field when we get back racing, Trent Dunham is your leader. 2nd is Nelson Thornhill. 3rd is Johnny Gardner. 4th, Dylan Poteet. 5th, James Shelley. 6th is Rafael LeDuc. 7th is Dylan Thoreau. 8th, David Rivera. 9th, Reed Rawlden. 10th, Seth Cole. 11th is Sean Galligan. 12th, Kyle Matthews. 13th, Ashland Boyd. 14th, Preston Plord. 15th, DJ Curtis. 16th, Charles Jackson. 17th is Nathaniel Reed. 18th, Charles Sanford. 19th is Joshua Sakuli. 20th, Paul Minnick. 21st, Grayson Acevedo. 22nd, Chris Michaels. 23rd, Jessica Sheldon. 24th, PJ Williams. 25th, Kev Shearer. And then 26th is defending Talladega winner this season, Mark Lane. So yeah, we're down to 26 cars, so we shall see how the racing ends up going from here on out, as the green flag is back out, and it's 24 laps to go, I believe. Yeah, 24 to go now here at Talladega for the GEICO 500. So we still got 4 of the top 5 in points still on track. Thornhill, LeDuc, Rivera, and Michaels. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen throughout the rest of the race. But actually I'm going to keep an eye on Chris Michaels in the 17, because he got slammed into the outside wall in the big one and then rear-ended after the contact under caution when slowing down for pacing purposes. And it seems like he's perhaps 3 miles per hour slower. Or I don't know, he could be up to speed, but he did really slow up big time. But Mark Lane is the one who's really slow. He's only going 166 on track. But anyways, Trent Dunham is the leader, as we got a battle for second between 2 Tweenix teammates, Johnny Gardner and Dylan Poteet. And here comes Rafael LeDuc, the pole sitter, trying to get up to the front. Dylan Thoreau, a 2-time winner this season. He's trying to get some momentum going for himself. Here comes Nelson Thornhill, who's trying to come back up there after falling back a few spots on that restart. Gonna help Rafael LeDuc try to get up there, so a little bit of a tandem draft there, but now, well, it was separated for a second. Now they've reformed, and also they're getting a lot of help from Galligan, among others. Well, they may have just left the room open too much, because here comes Galligan with help from Ashland Boyd. So we got an interesting little pack of cars up here that ends back to Reed Rawlden, but then there's a little tiny gap that separates back to Nathaniel Reed in 17th. So you got 16 drivers up in this main pack. As I'm looking around, and yeah, Chris Michaels and company have lost the draft, and I do think that Chris Michaels is slightly off the pace because of the damage he sustained from all those crashes that took place. But Paul Minnick went in the pit road, so it could be to repair damage. But Trent Dunham's still been leading ever since the restart. Nobody's been able to get around him. Is now 4 wide for 4th is going on. And they still are running. And now they're going to get caught up to this 26. So who knows what's going to happen here. Who is he going to hold up? If that's the case. And you can tell there's going to be quite a few drivers that are going to get held up if they're not careful. So yeah, be careful around that 26. Although I think he could blend in with the pack just a tiny bit, because I don't know, he does have a slight buckle on his hood, but I don't think it's as bad as what you would think. But quite a few cars did get held up, so that did split the pack up just a tiny bit. But now they have managed to somehow get by the 26 a little bit, and then there's a little separation, like I said, back to Charles Jackson. But now the pack's going to have to try and reform a little bit to catch back up to the top 3, since they are quite a bit ahead, although Galligan's going to pull out. Actually, a lot of cars are pulling out of the track to pit road, so this could be pit strategy taking place. LeDuc's on pit road, same with Gardner, Poteet, and Galligan. So they are the only ones who elected to come in the pit road this time by. As the top 2 still have a big gap over the majority of the pack. So Trent Dunham's been the dominant car since the restart. After some confusion that happened, as they are catching up to the 56, but will Trent pull down in the pit road? Yes, he is. So he's going to sacrifice the lead over to the 98 of Seth Kolb, although they have caught Mark Lane in the 56, but they managed to get on by. But it was Dylan Thoreau who led the lap that time. As you can tell, a lot of cars end up getting separated from some of the cars slowing down to get on pit road. As some of the damaged cars are on pit road. Nelson Thornhill's on pit road. Trent Dunham just got done with his stop. Joshua Sakuli done with his stop. He's going with 2 tires and gas. And he actually beat out Trent Dunham out of the pits, but the caution is out. Oh, and it's for a multi-car crash, and oh my goodness, Gardner was upside down and now barrel rolling. Must have been some with the 56, because he was involved, but this was a multi-car incident. DJ Curtis was in it as well, and the caution is out, so who knows what's going to happen with the scoring. Who's going to remain your lead? Who's going to be your leader, and whatnot. And some cars are probably going to end up being a lap down as a result. Seth Cole was even involved. And there was Preston Plord. I knew he was in it. But Dylan Thoreau for now is your leader, at least until he has to come into pit road. So let's go ahead and take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the second time today here at Talladega. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a long time since this kind of incident has happened on this channel. Johnny Gardner comes up, not up to speed, right in front of Seth Cole, and this is where this wreck is going to get started. So Seth Cole ended up getting taken out by Johnny Gardner, who had no common sense to wait until everybody went by him to blend in on the track, as he wasn't fully up to speed. And then you're going to see a lot of cars get involved. Grayson Acevedo was involved a little bit, and right there was double hits from Preston Plord and DJ Curtis. Paul Minnick was involved as well, same with Nathaniel Reed. Mark Lane actually didn't cause the wreck, he was a bystander in all this. And then Gardner is just still sliding upside down all the way down the banking, and then right there as he touches the grass, he goes for a couple of barrel rolls right there. So, man, just mayhem ensued after Gardner just pulled off a dumb move by just not waiting until everybody got by him to pull out onto the racetrack. But, yeah, a lot of people are not going to be happy with the 15s, so who knows what's going to happen after the fact. But anyways, let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Talladega. Well, after that last caution, we got more cars out of the race, and they include Seth Cole, Preston Plord, DJ Curtis, Johnny Gardner, and Mark Lane. So we're down to 21 cars. Half the field is left, but 5 of them are lapped down due to the timing of that caution. But anyways, Joshua Sekuli is your leader. Second is Nelson Thornhill. Third is Dylan Thoreau. Fourth, Dylan Poteet. Fifth, Reed Ralden. Sixth is Ashland Boyd. Seventh, Kyle Matthews. Eighth, Charles Jackson. Ninth, Trent Dunham. 10th, Chris Michaels. 11th is PJ Williams. 12th, Sean Galligan. 13th, David Rivera. 14th, Charles Sanford. 15th, Grayson Acevedo. And then 16th is Nathaniel Reed. And then the 5 cars a lap down who are going to restart next to the leaders are Jessica Sheldon, Kev Shearer, James Shelley, Rafael LeDuc, and Paul Minnick. So LeDuc may end up with another bad luck run as a result of that caution coming out, getting caught a lap down, unless he can somehow maneuver his way around the 3 cars ahead of him and the leader on this restart, or after the restart, and get back on the lead lap and hope another caution comes out. He could have another shot at it, but we'll see what happens. But as you know, a few of those lap down cars are not up to speed. Sheldon, Shearer in particular. But let's see what happens as green flag is waving as it's now 13 to go here in the GEICO 500. And Shelley actually is up to speed, so he's going to work with LeDuc a little bit. They're actually going to try and work together to get around Jessica Sheldon and then try and work together to get up to the leaders in hopes of a miracle. And now they pull out down low, and now Sheldon moves up high and is going to hold up Reed Ralden now. But now LeDuc's actually going to leave James Shelley hanging, which may be a good thing for himself because I think Shelley may be a tad bit off the pace. But now LeDuc is going to have to try and catch back up to the top 4 as the top 4 have broken away from everybody for the time being. As Sekuli has the lead in Nelson Thornhill. How about Nelson Thornhill? He has been the driver to watch the past few weeks, and here he goes for the lead. He may be trying to go for 3 in a row. I don't think in the history of this YouTube channel that a driver has gone 3 in a row in a single season. It may have happened before, but I don't recollect. But in Marvel Studios Cup Series, if Nelson Thornhill wins, he would be the first person ever to win 3 races in a row, and it would be his 5th win of the season. But he got quite a lot of drivers trying to spoil that. Poteet is now up here. Dylan Thoreau, Joshua Sekuli, Rafael LeDuc trying to catch back up to the leaders to try and get his lap back, and then hope for a caution so he can come back around and maybe still fight for a good position. And LeDuc now going to make it 3 wide underneath 2 of the guys fighting for second. So if he can get in front of one of those guys and get up to the 78 and get on around and then a caution comes out, he'll get back on the lead lap and back around with everybody. But Nelson Thornhill has a bit of a gap between himself and second place, which is under fire for Dylan Poteet by Kyle Matthews. Matthews is now to second. And now it's going to be 3 wide, 2 of them fighting, well, maybe not. Managed to get all sorted out as Thornhill still leads, but LeDuc, the lap down machine, is right on his tail. And this is only a 10-car pack, 9 of them on the lead lap. And here comes LeDuc trying to get that lap back, as he's got the run on the inside. Can he clear him in the turn 3? Actually, he clears him already. But now Thornhill's going to try and put him back a lap down. Crossover move by the 78 to get the 99 a lap down once again. 3 wide for second. Reed Rowden actually is going to get the run thanks to Charles Jackson and Joshua Sekuli, as Thornhill is just on mirror driving mode. Maybe a bit too early to do that, but then again, who knows what can happen. As it's now 9 to go here at Talladega, and Thornhill is just mirror driving everybody. As Sekuli's got a run thanks to help from Dylan Poteet, but now Sekuli's going to have the run on the inside of the 78, so this is the fight for the top spot. Joshua Sekuli trying to go for win number 2 this season, as I'm looking around to see where everybody else is running. There's the points leader, Chris Michaels, last scored 14th. David Rivera's last scored 11th, so for now, 2 of the top 5 in points are going to gain on the 17 for now. 8 laps to go here at Talladega, as Sekuli leads over Poteet, Thoreau, Matthews, and Boyd, the top 5. Rafael Leduc may be helping the 09, but he's still a lap down, up here fighting for an opportunity to get his lap back, and again hoping for a caution for himself to get back on the lead lap around with everybody else so he can fight for position. But Joshua Sekuli, oh, he's going to pull out. Oh, they're going to have to make one more pit stop. So this is really going to shake things up. They actually had to make one more pit stop before the race is over, and Sekuli sacrifices the lead. Dylan Poteet now has the top spot on track. And here comes early leader Trent Dunham now back into the picture, fighting for second underneath of Matthews with Rowden and Thornhill and Jackson right there. But now Trent's going to get split by Rowden and Thornhill now, as Rowden's trying to go for second. But now Thornhill's going to make it 3 wide for second, underneath of Rowden and Dunham, as Sekuli gets done with his stop, but Thornhill's going to sacrifice position. Same with Rowden and Boyd, as they're going to come in the pit road. So some pit strategy starting to take its toll, as only 6 cars of the main pack are still out there, 5 of them battling for position. Poteet leads over Dunham, Matthews, Thoreau, and Jackson. Leduc still a lap down, trying to make something work. And now Sekuli's trying to get all the way back up to speed, as he's almost to that point, as the leaders are catching up to the 11, but I assume they'll end up coming in the pit road this time by. And they are. What about the other guys? Yes, they're all coming down at the same time. I think Sanford and Rivera have yet to pit as well, but now they're going to come in at the same time. So is Shelley and Galligan. And then PJ Williams is still out on track. And now he's coming in the pit road. So I think that is everybody out there. And now Nelson Thornhill comes out first of this one group of cars. But then here comes Sekuli, who's at 190 miles an hour. Everybody ahead of him's going at least 10 to 15 miles per hour slower. But you gotta wonder if the 78 will cycle around as the leader, because there goes Poteet, and he's got a long distance, and I don't think they're going to catch up to him in time. I'll be surprised if they can, but Poteet's got a monumental lead over Jackson and plenty of others, as now Thornhill goes on by the 99. But I think the field has pretty much cycled around, and that is the lead right now. Poteet leading by, according to the scoring, by nearly 3 seconds. But you gotta wonder if the 00 and the 1 among everybody else can catch up to the 31 in time, because the 31 is all by himself, and then you got the 1 and the 00 kind of together, so you gotta wonder if they're gonna have enough time, as it's 4 laps to go. 3 seconds separates the top 2, so it's gonna be a lot of hard work and a lot of working together they're going to have to do if they're going to catch the 31, because he's got a monster lead. But if these four, actually these 4 are catching up to the 09 and the 41, if they could all somehow get together up there to the 1 and the 00 in time, they may have a chance, but it's going to be very hard to pull off, because that big lead that Poteet has, unless the 55 of Grayson Acevedo ends up holding up the 31, which I don't think that's going to be a factor. But let's see the margin at the line this time. It was 3 seconds last time. It has shrunk a little bit, but not by much. Excuse me. Grayson Acevedo is about 13 miles an hour slower than the 31. Excuse me. As this pack of cars led by Dylan Thoreau starting to grow a little bit, but they still got quite a long distance to get to the 1 and the 00, so excuse me. So it's gonna, I don't think they're going to catch up to the 31 in time, even though now the 31 has just gone by the 55. Margin only 2.7 seconds. Yeah, I sincerely don't think that anybody's going to catch the 31. I think this race is pretty much in the bag for the 31 of Poteet, because, well, just look at that distance, and not enough cars are up here to challenge him yet. Well, not yet, but I don't think they ever are going to catch him. But you never know, stranger things have happened at this track. Grayson Acevedo nearly held up both of those cars for a second. As the white flag is out for Dylan Poteet, what's the margin now? 2.55. Just not enough to really make anything work. As right now, the interesting battle is going on for 4th. Ashland Boyd has it, as Kyle Matthews is on the high side, as they are all fighting for that 4th spot, as first, second, and third's pretty much settled. Dylan Poteet, all he's got to hope for is not run out of gas and hope for the best, and it looks like, it looks like he's going to get it done. Going through the tri-oval as the checkered flag is about to wave. 2nd career win in Marvel Studios Cup competition. Dylan Poteet wins the GEICO 500 at Talladega. Pit strategy happened late in the race. He picked the right time to pit, managed to pull out to a monumental lead, and pick up the 2nd win of the season and of his career. But let's look at the rest of the results. The highest finishing rookie this week was Charles Jackson, comes through with a great run in the 2nd spot. Early leader Trent Dunham comes through with a solid run in 4th, 3rd. Great run in 4th for Ashland Boyd, and a great run in 5th for Dylan Thoreau. Great run in the 6th position for Joshua Sekuli. Solid 7th place finish for Kyle Matthews. The highest finishing top 5 driver in points, Nelson Thornhill, comes through with a great run in 8th. Solid run in 9th for Reed Rowden, and then a great run in 10th for Charles Sanford. Rest of the lead lap cars were David Rivera, Sean Galligan, Chris Michaels, Nathaniel Reed, and P.J. Williams. Everybody else that finished were a lap or more down. Grayson Acevedo, Rafael LeDuc, James Shelley, Jessica Sheldon, Kev Shearer, and Paul Minnick. Everybody else was out of the race after the 2 cautions that came out, and they were Seth Cole, Preston Plord, DJ Curtis, Johnny Gardner, Mark Lane, Emmanuel Hartnett, Jesse King, Oscar Anderson, James Qualls, Benjamin Miles, JT Bryant, Angel Alvera, Anthony McCreary, Phil Parker, Matt Haas, Austin LaPlante, Dylan Young, Chris Dollarton, Zach Rogers, Matt McIntyre, and Dorian Facepuncher. So that does it for our coverage here today at Talladega Superspeedway after quite an interesting race to say the least. But where are we heading to next week? We are heading to another road course. We are going to Yas Marina Circuit for the Taco Bell 200. But until then, here are your results, rookie points, and regular points heading into Yas Marina Circuit. And this is Levi McIntyre signing off.